Hello and welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV that isn't allowed to drive in 130 different countries. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge Season 41 Vets and New Threats episode 7, and this episode was messy on top of messy when we're looking over at the rookie side, as they have been banging the bells for the rookies to all come together and to take on the one central focus, and that is going against the vets. But now there are stipulations on which rookies are looking out for whom and who are okay to be voted into the elimination. But we'll get into all of that mess and all of that chaos as we go through this review and recap. Let's first start off where last episode left off, and that was Olivia winning against Lekka in the last elimination and coming back to the challenge house. There is this big closet celebration with Olivia and everybody who is rooting for her, and one of those people celebrating is Anissa, while her roommates are in bed talking about her and how they voted at the last voting ceremony to keep Anissa safe, yet she's not in there with them strategizing, talking with them. She's over hanging out with Olivia. There's a lot of distrust happening in this room, i.e. mainly with the roommates versus Anissa. The next day, in a very small moment right before the daily challenge, we see that Will and Nany kind of snuggle up with one another, and they foreshadow something that will happen later on in this episode. But we'll put a pin in that as everybody dons their challenge gear, heads down to meet up with TJ at a go-kart track for this week's daily challenge called Drive Me Crazy. One person in the team will drive a go-kart around the track a couple of times, then make a pit stop. While at the pit stop, their partner will then have 5 minutes to do a puzzle. If they complete it, then they'll have to swap off, where the person who just did the puzzle will have to get in the car and then drive 5 laps, and then they'll repeat that process until they get through 4 puzzles. And then they'll have to take a victory lap, where the person who crosses the finish line first will win into power, win into safety, and get 8 performance points. Now, if a teammate times out on a puzzle and can't finish it within the 5 minutes, then their teammate will have to do another 5 laps, and then they'll have to redo the puzzle until they eventually get it, or they try it 3 times, then they'll officially swap off, where then the person doing the puzzle will get in the car and then drive around, and so on and so forth. I like how this challenge is set up, that it's not fully on the puzzle, that if you have somebody in the car that can drive 5 laps very quickly, then it'll help you get into a better rhythm. The problem is with the editing of this daily challenge, and I have a feeling that the actual racing portion just wasn't up to what the challenge was hoping it would be, because I thought with all the different camera angles and with the go-karts that we would get a lot more of the go-karts, of the racing, of people passing one another. I thought we'd get like a Days of Thunder kind of vibe. However, when we're watching this challenge, it is like 80 to 85% of just the puzzles. Again, this challenge was decent. It's just that I had expected more from it, something more exciting, more action-packed, yet what we got was just people doing the puzzles more so than anything else. In the beginning, Cedric took an early lead where CT kind of fell back behind. Somebody that very much impressed me in the driving portion was Theo. He has a background in go-karting and getting a championship there, that he was passing people. He was looking very strong while in the go-kart. Him and Ashley together really could have gotten this win easily if each one could stay in their respective lanes, where Theo could just stay in the go-kart, and if Ashley could have just stayed doing all of the puzzles, it would have been a smoke show between them. However, they did have to swap places. Theo just kept on faltering on this block tower, where Ashley was in the pit lane yelling at him, trying to give him some pointers, telling him which blocks go where, and Theo was just completely confused. He eventually gets it, but Ashley, who we've seen get very frustrated with her rookie partners, is now also getting very frustrated with her vet partner in Theo. It was quite funny, but at the same time, it was very stress-inducing, even for me just watching it on my TV. I mentioned CT falling behind in the driving portion. What CT lacked in speed, him and Anissa made up in puzzle ability. Anissa was really quick getting that first puzzle done, and they swapped places, and she was out of there in 4th place. Then in puzzle 2, she got into the pits. CT finished up that second puzzle, and then he was taken off in first place. It felt like this was CT and Anissa's jam. They were running on all cylinders until that fourth and final puzzle. This final puzzle was very difficult for pretty much every single team except for one. And that was Leo and Nany, who were not doing the best overall in the daily challenge. They were working very well with one another. Nany had mentioned multiple times that her and Leo have not spoken to one another a lot inside the house. They have never talked game. When paired up together, they were just really supportive of one another. Nobody raised their voice. They were very much rooting for each other. Nany got the first puzzle done and they were able to leave in 7th place. However, Leo took a couple of times on that block tower, landing them in 10th place going into the 3rd lap. After the 3rd puzzle, they found themselves still in 10th place. Leo was on the 4th and final puzzle, and somehow he gets it in, 30 seconds? CT tried 3 times at that point, DNF'd, and was able to do his victory lap by the time that Leo got the check, was given the thumbs up, and Leo jumped in that go-kart, took off, and crossed that finish line. Gets that win, gets his 2nd win in a row, Nany's first daily challenge win of the season. When it all comes down to it, the final results are that in first place you have Leo and Nany, 2nd place CT and Anissa, 3rd place Derek and America, 4th place Izzy and Will, 5th place Aviv and Gabe, Michaela and Justin got 6th place, Derek and Sydney got 7th place, and getting 1 point and finishing in the top 8 is Jonna and Cedric. Jonna getting her first performance point of the season. And the team to get last place going directly into the elimination is Tay and Jeremy. Now, Tay was very critical about her puzzle abilities on that day and how she just wasn't able to complete the puzzles the best that she felt she could. It is a women's day, so she's going in there. Now, on the rookie bus coming back to the challenge house, all the rookies are gathering around Tay, being supportive and saying, we'll give you whoever you want because you need to feel comfortable. Tay makes it very clear she does not want to go up against a rookie. She would rather go up against somebody like Jonna, a 2-time challenge champion, somebody who came into the game late, as well as a lot of the rookies don't know much about her. So Tay is all for going up against Jonna. A lot of the rookies are saying, yeah, that's cool. We don't know who Jonna is. We're fine. Now, in this moment, the rookies seem like they're all together. Well, that all changes when everybody's true colors comes out at the bar. While at the bar, we see Sydney, Dee, and America talking with one another, and Sydney kind of lets it be known that she doesn't really care who goes into the elimination. Sure, we were just on the rookie bus and we're all saying rookie strong and everybody should look out for one another, but is it so bad if, say, Tay or Jonna or Izzy goes in and gets eliminated? Not necessarily, especially not for Sydney, Dee, and America, but they need numbers, right? So Sydney, Dee, and America go over to Aviv, Nany, and Ashley, who are sitting at their own table, and they want to come up with a plan. We hear from Ashley that there is a side alliance that Sydney, Dee, and America have with Ashley, Aviv, Nany, and Leroy. So they're coming up with a plan. So Sydney throws it out there like Jonna is the name that the rookies are all thinking about. At the same time, we don't think that it would be that big of a deal if, say, Izzy was the name that the vets were throwing out. So they agree that the vet women will throw out Izzy's name, while the rookie women will keep on pushing Jonna's name, and whoever comes out in front with the most votes at the voting ceremony, cool. Now this is where I'm excited about this season because I knew that the vets looking out for each other always crumbles at a certain point. And the rookies were taking up the mantle of being like, we all have to work together to stay safe in this game. And I knew that was going to crumble. I just didn't know how fast it was going to crumble. They barely worked together all at once. I mean, there was a majority for maybe 1.5 episodes, but how quickly they decided to rally up with each other was how quickly they just disbanded and everybody's doing their own thing, which is what makes the game more exciting, when everybody just does their own thing. They finally showed the performance points board. Now, I will say that when watching the episode in full speed, it kind of looks all standard, you know, you get to see who's in front, who has the most points and everything, but when I paused it to write everybody down, I noticed that there was an odd number of players, which is weird because there is no hangnail this week. Yet somehow, they let it slip midway through the episode that Izzy is off the board. I don't understand how you let this happen. You basically spoiled the elimination before even the voting ceremony happens. Now granted, like I said, if you just watch this episode at full speed, you probably don't notice anything. We also see a continuation between Nany and Will, who do a little bit more than cuddling after coming home from the bar. We get a little TMI from Nany in the confessional saying that it had been a very, 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 very long time. But enough of that, as we get to the voting ceremony where Nany and Leo save Ashley and Theo, and now it is time to get to the vote. We get 2 early votes for D between CT and Anissa, Derek and America. Then we get a vote for John A between Izzy and Will. Michaela then steps up, says that she doesn't want to vote for D or John A, as that would not benefit her game. Instead, she is going to vote for Izzy. Then we get a couple more votes, 3 more for Izzy between Sydney and Derek, Cedric, John A, D, and Turbo. The last 3 pairs to vote are Olivia, Jake, Theo, and Ashley, Adrian, and Leroy. 3 pairs with 3 people who are working very closely with Izzy. I had half a mind that possibly, maybe, there could be a tie vote, and we're gonna go back to a revote. But when Olivia gives her vote, she somehow burn votes on Sydney. And then Theo and Ashley randomly burn vote on Anissa and CT. Adrian sticks by Izzy and votes for John A, who she wanted to vote for. But it's like, I don't understand. If you're Olivia and Theo, why don't you push to vote for D in that scenario to possibly tie the vote? 4 for D, 4 for Izzy, and if Adrian votes for John A like she did, it would be 4-3-4, and then we go to a revote between D and Izzy. Why not even just try? I feel like Olivia and Theo just kind of surrendered the vote and was just like, okay, Izzy, you gotta go in. Will feels blindsided as he had no idea that Izzy's name was even thrown out there. But now it is time to get to the arena where we have Izzy versus Tay in this week's elimination called Pick It Up Again. There's these 2 giant game boards. Izzy and Tay will have to throw a basketball into one of 2 hoops. The ball, when it gets into the game board, will bounce off of a whole bunch of things as it gets to the bottom, and then they'll have to try to catch the ball before it touches the ground. As the ball is in the game board, the players are going to have to run and grab some bricks, put them on their 5 podiums, and stack them 7 high. The first player to stack 35 bricks amongst their 5 podiums will win, stay in the game, and the other player will be eliminated. I really did like this elimination, and I liked more that it was more of a mental than physical elimination. It wasn't a headbanger, it wasn't a puzzle, it was more endurance and making sure that you can keep your mental game and focus and not get too high or too low when something either went your way or didn't go your way. We can tell that Izzy was very nervous to start out this elimination. She was running to the bricks and she grabbed onto one of her podiums. The podium came out of the ground and was tilted, and she kept on stacking bricks onto it, but of course the bricks would fall because of how steep the angle was. She had to go back and restack her bricks, but also fix her own podium. With this being her first elimination and how nervous and anxious she seemed, the slight mess up can start adding on to one another. At another point, her ball touched the ground and she tried to dive for it, but she missed it, having to put some of those bricks back. It just really wasn't her night, but she kept on trying and she never gave up, which is very, very important. Now, on the other hand, this is Tay's second elimination. Probably a lot more confident coming into this elimination than she was going up against Blue in the physical elimination. She was playing a bit overcautious in the beginning, but it's better to be overcautious and make sure to not make a mistake. Tay just stayed calm, cool, and collected. She had Jeremy helping her out. Will was helping out Izzy, I will say. I really did like how much Will and Jeremy were supportive, counting, helping both their partners and trying to help them win. Tay was getting into a rhythm, and by the end, once she was starting to sink the ball from the higher hoop because she had to finish up the farthest away podium, she was just getting into a real good rhythm. She was able to get all 35 bricks stacked on her 5 podiums, get the ball at the end, and she was declared the winner. Izzy, unfortunately, was eliminated. Izzy started out this season playing a fantastic game. She is in incredible shape. She got into a really good alliance with the UK and Olivia. However, she was blindsided, and I feel like with that blindside vote, she was kind of thrown off a lot. It was just a perfect storm for Izzy to be eliminated, unfortunately. Will becomes the hangnail. He will not be able to participate in the next week's daily challenge, and he will be automatically up to be possibly voted into next week's elimination, which we hear from the preview is a pole wrestle. Jeremy and Tay go back up with the cast for the next selection process. And for the selection, we have Nany picking Cedric, Leo picking Olivia, Anissa picks Jake, CT picks Michaela, America picks Gabe, Derek picks Aviv, Justin chooses Ashley, Sydney picks Jeremy, Derek K picks Adrian, John A chooses Turbo, D picks Theo, and that leaves Leroy and Tay as the leftovers, and they will be paired up with one another again. Now, the most important thing before this episode ends is TJ telling everybody what the performance points mean. TJ says that after next week's elimination, when there are no more hangnails, the amount of performance points that everybody has will determine the order of who will select who as their partners for the rest of the season. Now, he says that everybody will have to have a partner that is opposite gender and opposite stripe, meaning that Michaela, who at the moment has the most performance points heading into next week's episode, if she stays as the #1 person, she will get first pick out of who she wants as a partner from the rookie men. And it'll go down until everybody has a partner heading into the rest of the game. This is incredible. We're gonna have a format change after next week's episode, and the amount of possibilities that will take place on who will pick whom, and the possibility of whom will pick whom, and how that will change the entire social dynamics, the alliances in this game. I mean, it was tough week in and week out when you had to swap partners, and one partner will be possibly working on the same side as you, where the next week or the following week, it'll be somebody from the exact opposite alliance and all this other stuff, and even with vets being paired up with vets, rookies being paired up with rookies. But now it'll all change smack dab in the middle of the season. This is going to be big, big, big. Next week's daily challenge could be the most important daily challenge, as it could change up the order drastically depending on who finishes in the top 8 and who comes in bottom 8 somehow. Some people can maybe leapfrog a place or two. That will greatly change somebody's plans on who they choose. I cannot wait. I wish that we could see the next episode right now, but we're gonna have to wait and see what's all gonna happen. That is it for this review and recap. What do you think about this episode? Please let me know down in the comment section below. What do you think about the daily challenge? What do you think about this week's elimination? What do you think about the alliance of Sydney, D, America, Ashley, Aviv, and Nany working with each other, where they pushed the votes to go towards either Izzy or John A? What do you think about the voting ceremony? And what do you think about Izzy being eliminated? Are you sad to see her go? And what do you think about the performance points and what they were meant for? Are you excited for this new twist of them going into a partnered season for the rest of the game? What do you think about that? And who do you hope gets paired up with one another? Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. I want to hear what you have to say. But now I want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really, really soon with more Challenge 41 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.